Good morning, children. Welcome back. The previous session we have discussed the details of the prokaryotic cells. Now we are coming to the eukaryotic cells. The eukaryotic cells are the cells with a true nucleus. What is a true nucleus? A nucleus with a definite nuclear membrane and nucleolus and membrane-bound organelles such as mitochondria, Golgi bodies, endoplasmiculum, endoplasmic reticulum, all are present in a eukaryotic cell. Such cells are eukaryotic because of having true nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. The eukaryotic cells, you can remember you have studied many examples. Protists are eukaryotes, unicellular eukaryotes. They belong to the kingdom Protista. For example, amoeba, paramecium, euglena, and many more unicellular eukaryotic cells you have studied in the previous sessions. Now, plant cell and animal cells are eukaryotic cells. There is no doubt for that. The eukaryotic cell contains many more chemical components in addition to certain basic components. For example, we can imagine there are you can see cytoskeletal structures. A eukaryotic cell contains cytoskeletal structures, which mainly help in locomotion. Cytoskeletal structures. Presence of cytoskeletal structures helps in the locomotion of the unicells or multicellular organisms. Now the chromosome number is more than one. You know, in prokaryotes usually there is only one chromosome, whereas in eukaryotes more than one chromosomes. Like human cells, human eukaryotic cell contain 46 number of chromosomes. Now you can also imagine a prokaryotic cells contain centrioles. Prokaryotic cells, particularly animal cell contain centrioles. The centrioles are organelles, helps in the cell divisions. Centrioles are organelles which help in the cell division. At the same time, the eukaryotic cell contains very well developed cell wall. If you consider the plant cell, the cell wall consists of many chemicals like cellulose, hemicellulose, glycoproteins, and even you can understand that the cell wall of this may be pectinated or lignified. Pectinated and lignified. At the same time, algae contain some additional chemicals other than that is present in the plant cell wall. What are they? Mannans and glucans. M-A-N-N-A-N-S. Mannans and glucans. Mannans and glucans are usually present in the algal cell wall. Okay, and when you come to the cell wall in detail, the cell wall has three important layers. There is one layer that is called the primary wall, which is rightly formed at the time of the cell formation, primary wall, and the secondary wall is added to it later. Secondary wall. Now the adjacent cells are connected. By a middle lamella. And what is the chemical composition of the middle lamella? It is made up of calcium and magnesium pectate. So what are the chemical compositions of this middle lamella? Calcium and magnesium pectate. So in short we can say the cell walls of plant cells, particularly plant cells, have three layers, three membranes. Primary wall, they are first formed wall, to which secondary wall is added later, and two adjacent cells are connected by a middle lamella which contain calcium and magnesium pectate. One of the most important feature of these plant cells or plant cell wall is the presence of pits. Pits are connections between two adjacent cells. We call these pits plasmodesmata because the cytoplasm from one cell get continued with the other cell through this plasmodesmata. So what is plasmodesmata? We can say plasmodesmata are the cytoplasmic connections. Plasmodesmata are cytoplasmic connection between the cells. It helps in the equal distribution of protoplasm or cytoplasm between the cells. So thereby plant cells, maintain turgidity. From one cell, the water and protoplasm can move to the other cell where there is less amount of water and protoplasm. Thereby, the almost all cells maintain the state of turgidity. A turgid cell is a fully swollen and active metabolically. This is very important for plant cell survival. These plasmodesmata are usually absent in animal cells. In animal cells, the outermost covering of the cell is the plasma membrane, which has small pores through which the substance can easily pass. That's why the plasma membrane is called semi-permeable or selectively permeable membrane. How the plant cells or plants and animals are adapted to survive in the existing environmental conditions. That is one of the reasons for the survival of these plants and animals in adverse conditions. So you got what are plasmodesmata? Plasmodesmata are cytoplasmic connections between the adjacent cells in plant cells. You have already studied certain features, differences between plant cell and animal cell. I will not repeat it. Yes, what are the differences between plant cell and animal cell? Plant cells possess a cell wall, whereas animal cells do not. Then plant cells possess plastids. They are chromoplastid, chloroplastid and leucoplastids. Plastids are usually absent in the animal cells. In plant cells, centrioles are organelles which are absent, whereas in animal cell, centrioles are present which helps in the process of cell division. Now, animal cells possess more mitochondria than plant cells. You know the reason? Yes, animal cells need more energy. Animal cells need more energy for movement or locomotion. They have to maintain adequate temperature, body temperature, a constant temperature usually. To maintain the temperature, more energy needs. At the same time, plant cells are stagnant or non-motile, and their metabolic rate is slightly or less than that of animal cells. Now, if you consider about a plant cells have some additional organelles such as peroxisomes and glyoxysomes, which are usually absent in animal cells. So, there are many distinctive features that distinguish between plant cell and animal cells. You have already studied about it. Now let's come to plasma membrane, which is the common membrane surrounding the plant cell and animal cells. So the cytoplasm of the plant cell and animals are commonly covered and protected or enclosed and separate the plant cell and animal cells from the environment. Okay, right? Now plasma membrane. Plasma membrane. There are many theories to explain plasma membrane. Plasma membrane, when we see through the electron microscope, it is made up of a lipid bilayer. Bilayer. This lipid bilayer consists of two lipid molecules. That is upper and lower lipid layers. Each lipid or phospholipid molecule has two sections. Each phospholipid molecule has two parts. The outer hydrophilic head hydrophilic, and the inner hydrophobic tail. Hydrophilic head and the inner hydrophobic head. What is the meaning of hydrophilic head? Hydrophilic polar head. Hydrophilic polar head actually can react with and can maintain the water around them. Hydrophilic head can maintain water molecules around them. At the same time, hydrophobic head is hydrophobic tail. Hydrophobic tail is water hating. Hydrophobic head is water hating. So I am drawing two membranes of phospholipid molecule. So this is the hydrophobic tail. Hydrophobic tail, and this is hydrophilic head. Hydrophilic head. Now we can understand that not only these phospholipids, there are proteins. There are two categories of proteins you can observe through electron microscope. Two types of proteins. The outer protein or peripheral proteins. The outer or peripheral proteins we call extrinsic protein or external protein. Extrinsic or external protein. These are seen on either sides of the phospholipid molecule. And there is another layer of protein which are called internal protein or intrinsic protein. Internal or intrinsic protein. These internal proteins are traversed in between the phospholipid membrane. You can see this is called the intrinsic protein. Protein which is seen internally or inside the membrane. Intrinsic protein. So what are the two types of protein? Intrinsic, INTRINSIC, intrinsic or internal protein, and extrinsic or external protein. So this external protein appears just like the appearance of the mosaic on the wall or a mosaic on the floor. When you see from the upside or upper side, you can see the external proteins are having different colored texture or appearance, and this make the lipid layer really mosaic in appearance. Hence, this membrane structure of the plasma membrane called fluid mosaic model. Fluid mosaic model. Why it is called fluid? It is fluidity in nature because presence of internal protein make the plasma membrane so flexible. Presence of internal protein or intrinsic protein make the plasma membrane more flexible, and they are really water adhered or water connected. In addition to this water, there are sugar molecules. Then there are many other simple molecules, starch, then cellulosic components, many other polysaccharides and protein molecules you can see in addition to this. So phospholipids are two layers. In between the phospholipid there are internal protein or intrinsic protein, and on either sides there are external protein or extrinsic protein. So there are two phospholipid bilayer. Each phospholipid molecule consists of hydrophilic head. Hydrophilic means water loving or water reacting. At the same time, hydrophobic tails are water hating, and water will be moved away from these tails. Okay? In this space is occupied by the intrinsic protein or internal protein. So presence of internal protein acts as the channel through which the materials can cross through the plasma membrane. So plasma membrane is semi-permeable membrane. And plasma membrane shows many functions. You know what are the functions of plasma membrane? Plasma membrane act as the channels through which various molecules can be diffused. So diffusion takes place through the plasma membrane. There are two types of diffusion, facilitated diffusion and normal diffusion. Normal diffusion takes place spontaneously without any energy or help. Whereas facilitated diffusion takes place with the help of protein molecules, certain protein molecules, and also certain other elements like minerals, protein molecules. So facilitated diffusion takes place with the help of protein carriers. That's all today. Thank you.